What separates one trampoline from another? What makes some trampolines cost over $2,000 while some only cost $500? There are many components that come with high-end trampolines. And while some trampolines may be expensive, make sure you compare all the specs. Let's talk about frame thickness. First thing to look for when you're purchasing a trampoline is the steel gauge. How thick is their steel? Always compare each company's steel gauge. The smaller the gauge number, the thicker the steel. Steel is not only the most expensive part of your trampoline, but it's also the most important part. A strong steel support frame can endure a higher jumping velocity without the steel bending at impact, thus giving you a better bounce. Now I'm 6'3", 310 pounds, and later in the video I'll show you how strong this frame is by jumping on it. Now whereas a weaker support frame, it will bend at impact, thus losing its bounce. Now this here is our 15-foot trampoline. The frame wall thickness is of 2.0 millimeters with a very wide 2-inch diameter. It has the thickest and most robust frame any round recreational trampoline you'll find on the market. Now most round trampolines, including some expensive trampolines, have a wall thickness of 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters. So before you purchase, you should ask the vendor for their frame wall thickness and also the diameter to compare. So now let's compare. I'm going to show you two different frames. The first one would be the frame that you would purchase from us. The next one would be the frame that you would purchase from our competitor. This is about a $700 frame that you would purchase from them. Now, just as you can see, the diameters are very different in size. Again, the competitor versus ours. The next thing we're going to look at is going to be the wall thickness. As you can see, this is going to be our competitor's wall thickness, also our wall thickness. One more thing I will show you is going to be the ends. As you can see, again, the wall thickness has a big difference. So now we'll talk about hot dip galvanization. Now all of our trampolines are hot dip galvanized to ensure that every inch of the frame gets fully galvanized both inside and out. The purpose of galvanization is to make sure the frame can withstand against rust, condensation, and corrosion. Now, some companies sell powder coated or painted frames. Some will even claim powder coating over the galvanized frames. Now, however, those in the steel industry know that it's not possible to powder coat or paint over a galvanized coating. Powder coated or painted frames will only temporarily protect the outside of the trampoline. But once the powder coating or paint coating chips, the frame will instantly rust. As you know, it would be too difficult and not very cost effective to powder coat the inside of the frame. When there's no rust protection on the inside of a trampoline, condensation from different temperatures will cause the frame to rust from the inside out. So here I have a piece of the tubing that would basically be a powder coated frame. This is what the outside is going to look like. This is what the inside would look like with no rust protection over a 2-year span. Now another thing we're going to look at is the spring count. What you want to look for here is going to be the length and the shape. A trampoline with a good bounce will have longer springs and greater spring count. Longer spring coils will have more flexibility, thus creating more lift. So again, let's compare. The first spring I'll show you is going to be from our competitors. This is going to come on their $700 trampoline. The one that we have over here that's a golden color is going to be on the trampolines that we sell. As you can see, not only is it longer, but it's also more rust resistant than the silver. pad covers can come in two different types of materials. The cheaper $300 to $500 trampolines are going to be made out of a tarp material called PE. Now those materials are okay for indoor, but if left outside and exposed to the sun's UV, rain, sprinklers, and wind, they won't last longer than 4 months. Now the more expensive trampolines make their spring pad covers out of a material called PVC. PVC is like a plastic material. They're much more durable and can withstand more adverse weather conditions. Spring pad thickness can range from 1/4 inch to 1 inch. We went above and beyond and made our spring pads 1.25 and 1.5 inches thick. Now imagine falling on something like this. Now here's our competitor's pad. This one I won't be hitting as hard as I hit the last pad. As you'll hear, I will be hitting the frame with my fist. Now all joking aside, that one did hurt. So as you can see here, you can see the difference in the width of the two pads. Ours is going to be wider than the competitors. Another thing that you want to be looking for is the way our spring pad actually extends out 4 inches past the springs, making it very difficult for you to get caught into the springs. One other thing you want to see is the thickness of our pad also is going to stop you from getting caught into the springs. So when comparing trampolines, if you review all these points, you will definitely find the best trampoline for your money.